Hi everybody. I just thought I'd kind of get caught up on things since I've been away for a little while and give you a little bit of an update. I'm still having issues with my injury. Did my second round of cortisone injections and nothing. It just hurt worse to have them done this time than it did last time. No relief. But I'm looking, I've got an appointment with a neurologist on Wednesday, so I'm hoping they'll be able to give me some answers as to what alternatives I have from this point out, so we'll see about that. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about is, there's all the drama that's going on around YouTube and all the scandals and everything right now. And I kind of feel left out, so I figured I'd invite a little bit of scandal. I can't offer to box you, Onision, because I'm not a big enough YouTuber and I don't have $1 million. And he's not going to address any of my comments that I leave on his page sometimes, or his tweet. So I just figured I'd do some clickbait, pure and simple. Put it out there. I'm totally honest. Yeah, this is pure clickbait. Get me some views. Get me up there. But at the same time, I am sincere about some of the things. Let me fix this camera real quick. I am sincere about some of the things I'm concerned about. So I'm just going to go down my little handy dandy checklist. The problem I have with Onision is not the fact, although all these things are true, it's not the fact that he can't write worth a shit. He can't sing, can't act, can't write songs or music. He's not a comedian unless you would consider, maybe on a grade school level, maybe middle school level, kids that would find some of his stuff funny, which is quite disturbing. I just don't like him because I think he's a piece of crap. I think he's a toxic person. If he is who we see on video, I think that his kinder and gentler Onision that he's been putting out there recently is, again, crap. I think because he's trying to change things up because he's losing so many of his subscribers and his followers. Honestly, I think the problem is that his subscribers are growing up. They're getting wise. They're getting more mature. They just, they don't find him funny anymore. Who can blame him? So some of the other things I wanted to address about him. A lot's been made of one of his past relationships that he had with his spouse and another person that they claimed was a polyamorous relationship. Hunty, no. That's not polyamory, not the way they did it. What they did is invite a third person into the relationship. At least into a relationship with his spouse. And then against her wishes, he became involved to some extent with the third person. That is not polyamory. Anybody who knows about polyamory knows that bringing a third person into the relationship is only valid to be poly if there's a meeting of the minds with all people involved. Now, yes, some people might bring more than one person into the primary relationship, but if everybody is not on the same page as to, and they don't sit down and discuss what's expected, what boundaries you want on your behalf, what boundaries you expect to adhere to, ask questions, give opinions, all that. If you haven't had many discussions between all parties involved and come to a meeting of the minds, that's not poly, that's cheating, in my personal opinion. Well, you may feel like, oh, it's not cheating if the spouse was given permission by the Onion to have this relationship. Valid point. However, it was, according to what has been said by by Kai, the spouse, and other parties, is that it was agreed that this third party would be someone that Kai would have a relationship with, and that they weren't comfortable with the Onion getting involved, but he did it anyway. That is cheating. If you go behind your spouse's back or go against their wishes and participate in something that you know they're not comfortable with and you know that would hurt them, that's a betrayal, pure and simple. I don't care what you want to, whatever other label you want to put on it, that's betrayal. I do have a little bit of inside knowledge about such things. I am not involved in a poly relationship, but I do have an open marriage. At this current time, I choose not to have a playmate because of many reasons, partly because of my mobility and health issues, and partly because I just don't have an interest at the moment. Okay, so moving on. One of the things, and these are random, they're in no particular order, so you can call me out on that if you want to. That's okay. I noticed I was watching another creator the other day, and I'm sorry I didn't write down who it was, but I just made some quick notes as I was thinking about it and remembering. But one of the creators was talking about how in the book Stones for Abigail, if you want to call it a book, in the book Stones for Abigail that Onion wrote, that the character sounded an awfully lot like his ex-girlfriend from high school, Christina, or Christine. Whereas previously, Onion had said, or I can call him Greg, Greg had said that it was based on who was his spouse, who was referred to at the time as Lainey. So this is just one of many inconsistencies that I have found in following their relationship. Some of it is the timing of how old they were when at certain points in their life, when they dated, when they married, when this, that, or the other happened, when they had kids. And I noticed in one of Kai's Laney-Bot videos, they were talking about the wedding photos and things like that, and another video she was talking about her pregnancies and everything, and she mentioned how her parents were not quite as upset about finding out she was pregnant as she expected them to be. Well, if they were married when she was 18 and legally married, why would her parents be so upset about her being pregnant, even though it was by an almost 30-year-old man? I mean, I'd have a problem with it, but according to both of them, sometimes, oh, her parents are fine with it, they love him, blah, 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 and yeah, I'm not buying it. I would definitely have to get to know my child's partner for more than a couple of months before I'd be okay with them marrying someone who's almost 10 years older than them when they're a teenager. So I'm just not buying some of the versions of the story that they put out. Also, one of the things that really bothers me about Greg is his ignorance, and the fact that he doesn't realize how ignorant he is. He's such a narcissist that he either doesn't know or can't admit how ignorant he is. It's been proven when he did the videos about black people's hair. It's been proven in lots of areas. One of the biggest things and creepiest things is how he insists in all his videos, whenever he's called out about something, especially having to do with the infamous pictures where he rated girls on their, on how they, on their looks and on their bodies and things like that. His stance is, well, it's legal. Legal doesn't make it not creepy. To quote Blair White, and I cannot agree anymore. I totally agree with her. Just because it's just because it's legal does not make it not creepy. If I didn't say that right, you get what I mean. He's creepy regardless, but especially when it comes to his younger viewing audience, I guess you'd call it, his fans, his followers. And it amazes me how ignorant he is about the issues involving a particular creator who is in recovery at the moment because of an eating disorder. I can say the word because I'm not monetized. Nobody cares. I don't have that big a following. I'm not going to get struck, I'm sure. And if I did, whatever. Yeah, someone with an eating disorder. And he was recently called out on a debate about the fact that he had promised to stop making videos on this person. And when he was confronted by an actual grown woman and not one of his hand-picked, minions to argue the point, then he always reverted back to his standard definition of what stop means. Well, yeah, apparently in his world, when someone asks you to stop doing something and you agree to stop doing that, it only means, stop really means pause. He tried to refer to it as a stop sign, which means you're going to go eventually. Yeah, but there are rules about when you can go. He follows no rules except his own, and that's what makes him so destructive. Is not because he's a rebel. He's not a rebel. He's just a jerk. He doesn't care. If he honestly doesn't get it, I'd be a little bit more lenient. But I don't think it's not that he doesn't get it. I think it's he just doesn't care that when it comes to somebody with body dysmorphia or an eating disorder, telling someone, go get help, stop doing this, stop doing that, putting pressure on them is not going to help them get well. They have to get well in their own way and in their own time with their own motivation. And once they are receiving help, making quote-unquote positive videos all of a sudden, it's still not going to help, because it's just throwing tons of compliments at them about their looks, about how much better they look, and this, that, and the other. That's not going to help either, because that's adding pressure as well. So that's not going to do the person any good, because he doesn't understand the mindset that someone with an eating disorder doesn't see themselves the way we see them. I have some issues with, I may have touched on this before, with insecurities, and I've had a little bit of, I wouldn't call it true body dysmorphia, but, or dysphoria. I may be saying that wrong. I apologize. But I cannot look at myself and see what my husband says he sees. He says he sees an attractive woman that, that he finds pretty or beautiful, whatever. I don't see that, but he does. But I can't tell him that's not what he sees, because he has a different viewpoint than I do. When I was a kid, I was certain I was going to grow up to be from a little girl into a boy. as I got older. I knew I was always told I was a little girl. I didn't really want to be one. But in my case, as I grew up and I matured a little bit, you know, I felt more comfortable in my skin. I mean, never completely comfortable, but it had nothing to do with my gender. It had more to do with my appearance. And that's a long story that I'll get into later. So I have a tiny bit of insight as to what they're going through, so I can understand on that level. But I don't think Greg even tries to understand on that level. I think Greg just wants things the way he wants them. And there are several people who have offered to debate him. But the issue is going to be this. There have been other attempts. He debated, I know there's been a couple of debates. He debated Blair White, and I'd say 85% of that was him calling her some of the worst 4-letter and other letter words that you can think of. The C word, the B word, all of them, you know, basically everyone in the book. And because he could not back up his, he could not validate his reasoning for doing certain things or saying certain things. And in the end, Lainey, who, because she wasn't Kai at the time, I don't think, Lainey had to come in and rescue him. No, that was with Joy Sparkles. I apologize. He debated Joy Sparkles first, I believe. Same kind of thing. She was whipping his butt. He pulled out all the dirty words, lost his stuff, and Spouse had to come and rescue him from that issue. When he was confronted in a debate by Blair White, and she was not gaslighted any more than Joy Sparkles BS was, then he couldn't handle that. And again, the bad words, the derogatory comments, all that came out. What it comes down to is he cannot handle debating grown-ups. There were a few recent debates on YouTube, well, quote-unquote debates, that he claimed victory on because he handpicked the participants. He handpicked the subject matter. He handpicked the responses. They were coached, and some of them not that well. I mean, it was kind of obvious. On one stream, there was a creator who recently was copyright struck by him, who kind of, I'll go ahead and say, kind of snuck into, well, she didn't sneak, she paid a couple bucks on his Patreon to participate in the live stream, and while she was in there, she brought up, the subject of why he's been doing this, and he would not engage with her. He basically kicked her out of the stream because he could not reasonably justify his actions, and he didn't want to deal with it. There was a stream where he invited people to, I think he invited debate, and he was confronted on there by an adult who was a professional, who worked in the nursing industry, who was also a recovering person with, she was recovering from eating disorder, and she called him out on his gaslighting and everything, and he tried his best to wiggle out of it, saying, "Oh, I just can't talk about this person anymore. It's been talked about to death," and blah, blah, blah. Where he'd just been talking about it before with his little minions. But he can't deal with grown-ups face to face. The only way he can deal with grown-ups is if he feels like he has the ammunition, like he has the upper hand, because, they're caught off guard, and, he's got to be in control of the situation. And I don't know if you're aware, these are some of the people. I don't follow all of these people, but I pretty much do follow all these people. But there are more people than these who have been false copyright struck by Onision recently. And I'm going to name them off because you may know of some of them. You may want to show some support and contact Team YouTube, which I don't know if that'll do any good because I counted at least 50 tweets at Team YouTube, and he's still here. So, but some of the ones he has false copyright struck, and some of these multiple times. Everyone knows he has targeted Mr. Repzion, and that seems to be the bug up his butt, because Repzion doesn't kiss his butt or back down, and none of these others do either. I just think Mr. Repzion has been doing it a little bit longer and has a little bit more edge because he's closer, and they live in the same state. So he's more aware of some of these rules and regulations, and he can call Greg out on more things than some of us because he has a little bit more knowledge of the area. But he has recently struck Madam X, or you may pronounce it Madame, or Madam X, which, by the way, she said that one of her friends false copyright struck Onision just to see what would happen, and they lost their channel. Tell me that's not a double standard. One strike, they lose their channel. And he has all these multiple strikes against multiple people, and he's still here with his toxic ass. Anyway, FPS Diesel, Joy Sparkles BS, Rags Reynolds, Mike and Actor, Tater Tatiana, Original Owl, Ready to Glare, of course, Miss Repzion, Preming, Novacast, Chaos Untold, The Right Opinion, The Josh Show, Deadwing Dork, Jacqueline Glenn, Hot Takes, Blair White, and I know there are others, and I apologize that I don't remember the names. I didn't get them all down. I get to a point sometimes when he's such a boil on my butt. I get to a point where just thinking about him gets my blood pressure up and I have to quit. But I know there are probably some people who watch me who don't know about him, and I want to put the word out there to those few people who don't know about this, because this is my issue. I really enjoy making videos. I really enjoy watching YouTube. There are a lot of very interesting creators out there. There's a lot of creators I don't care for. I don't like their humor. I don't like their content. And that's okay. That's a difference in opinion. That's a difference in taste. But Onision is a different breed because he is toxic. If you can think of something offensive, he has probably done it. I honestly believe that he has a predatory nature, not only because some of the crap he's pulled involves, preteen girls or teenage girls, but even the predatory behavior against other females who are older. And if you know his history, and many of these YouTubers or creators, like Mike and Actor, Repzion, and some of these others, they have documented history of some of the things that his past relationships and things. He is a bad influence to his followers, some of whom are too young to know better. He gives YouTube itself a bad name. YouTube is becoming the trailer trash of the internet in some ways, from what I hear in other forms of media, because of people like him. He thinks that he's a celebrity. He thinks he's a comedian and all this because he had a successful video where he put on a freaking banana suit and said, "I'm a banana," about 90 times. Okay, cool. Somebody liked it? Fine. You're 33 years old. You have no business trying to influence 12 and 13, 14-year-old girls. You are a dangerous person. You need to back the hell off or start following the rules. Right now, though, my issue is not just with Onision, it's also with YouTube, because I don't understand, and if someone can enlighten me, I will gladly eat my words and kiss some butt or whatever, not to Onision, but to YouTube. Someone can explain to me how this is okay that he has gone against almost every term of service on the site, not just on YouTube, but on Twitter as well, but not as bad. But yet he's allowed to keep creating and keep putting things out there and keep, reaching out and expanding his platform towards tweenies. And so many of these other creators get struck down either temporarily or permanently for doing a lot less than he has. And I know, like I said, there's an overwhelming outcry against this. But we have no solution, apparently, because we've appealed to YouTube, and apparently it's not okay to do that, because some of the people who had valid strikes or had valid rebuttals against his strikes are now being told, we can't help you, because these happen to be the same people that are speaking out against Onision. My next move is to go to the media. And some people out there are thinking, well, you're making a big deal out of nothing. This is just one little corner of the universe compared to everything else. This is not a big deal. It's just someone who annoys you. That's true to a certain extent. But what about the next? Just say Onision just decides he's tired of doing it, he goes away. What about the next person? What about the person who's like Jake Paul or someone? What if what they're doing now gets boring and they decide they want to go the same route as Onision? Maybe push it further. What's going to prevent them from doing that? What's going to prevent, the predators out there who are a little bit more savvy and intelligent than Onision? What's going to prevent them from using some of the same tactics he has? I mean, I could go on and on about it. But I just wanted to give you some food for thought. And like I said, honestly, this is going to be clickbaity. Because I want to build my views. I want to get my numbers up. And what better way than to exploit Onision? He's exploited everybody else. And like I said, that's one of the things that pisses me off the most right now, is after all the foul language, the aberrant behavior, the cringy, ridiculous skits, and the offensive topics, I could go on and on. All of a sudden now, he's become a kinder, gentler Greggy, where he's asking people, to not treat him, not be so mean to him, and not, basically he's pointing out how wrong it is for people to treat him the way he's been treating people for almost a decade. Yes, I hate a hypocrite. More than a hypocrite, I hate a freaking bully. Almost everybody has been a victim of a bully at some point. And admittedly, even Onision has. But whereas we grew up, he hasn't. And he continues to bully from a distance in some cases. And I personally am afraid for the mental stability of his children and family if the example he sets for his kids is okay with his spouse. But she claims he is nothing like that in real life, but I'm not buying it. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you have an opinion? Let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your thoughts. Point out where I'm wrong. I don't expect everybody to think the way I do, and I don't want them to. But either way, if you agree with me or don't agree with me, leave me a message down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you like what I have to say, by all means, push the like button. If you want to see me do more videos on this and other things, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support my channel, I have Patreon. But more than anything else, I really want to know your honest opinion. Do you agree or do you disagree with my points? Do you have something to add that I'm not aware of? Do you have suggestions on what we can do to have him reined in a little bit? I don't want to be a hard ass about policing other people's content, but I honestly think that Greg is a dangerous person to have on YouTube when you cannot control young people coming on and lying about their age. So whether he sets his content on 18 or older or not, everybody knows a way to get around that. Well, almost everybody, but most people do. But yeah, give me your input. Give me your thoughts. You know, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me what I missed. In the meantime, everybody take care, and I'll try to get back with you as soon as I can. Be well, and try to stay cool out there. Good night.